everyone, and hi, Julie.
Hello, Janelle.
I wanted to take a few moments today and explore what you are doing. First of all, I wanted to officially welcome Julie Bonness to the TaxExact team as our Chief Realization Officer. We could not be more excited to be expanding the way that we are and to welcome you aboard this awesome, amazing team. And I'm very, very excited for you to talk a little bit more about your role with our firm and what you're going to be doing to serve our clients as Chief Realization Officer. So a lot of times you see CRO and people think Chief Revenue Officer, but at TaxExact, we don't always like to stay in our lane. And so there's a little bit of a spin on what a CRO means inside our organization. So would you talk a little bit about that today?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Janelle. It is certainly my pleasure to join this team, and I'm quite flattered and honored. You know, when we were talking about Chief Revenue Officer, I just felt like it was so internal, and we're not that. We're all about the client. We're all about the firms that we serve. And so when I started thinking about what is it that the firms focus on, most often it's their realization rate. Realization rate is still the most common performance measurement that is used by the public accounting firms to calculate the profitability of engagements. And quite simply, realization is taking the total of the invoice, dividing it by the number of hours. And that is the realization rate. Obviously, firms want to have the higher realization rate. And so when thinking about that, there's been an emergence of all kinds of different billing protocols. We have value billing out there now, we have fixed pricing, but most firms have not progressed away from what's common, realization rate. And so I decided, what are firms really focusing on? What's going to catch their attention? It's their realization. And when I thought deeply about what realization means, there's just so many different levels that we can look at realization. Although it's a metric in the industry that they use, it's also a recognition of the awakening of the transformation within the industry. Realization needs to happen on so many different levels within the firm. So when I looked at realization, I really just thought about, how do I take it to the next level? How do I understand what is going to help the firms as the industry continues to transform at a rapid pace? And I wanted to think about, what are the firms looking to do to free the reviewer from the tick and the tie, unleashing the power of what we always say is inside of the actual tax return? How are firms stepping up in the industry as it relates to the advancement of the industry? How are they handling some of the challenges with the shortage of staffing? Are they modernizing their processes to advance the education of those new preparers? What are they doing to truly, to put it in the Scout terms, what are they doing to truly enhance the overall industry, to leave it in a better position than when they came?
I love that. I love that. This is so refreshing because I think what's so exciting and energizing about the whole concept is that truly it is a complete internal focus on the firms that we're serving, right? And how can we help them transition and navigate that transition, right? From compliance to advisory and have a real impact on the profitability of their firm. Because we know if we commit to rolling our sleeves up and doing that with firms, we know that the revenue comes, right? So if we put firms first and the realization first, the revenue comes, right? For us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I often wish that our firms would think that highly of themselves. So when you think about, when you choose a CPA to represent you personally or your organization, they take some time to really find that fit. And often the client wants to be involved with their CPA at a higher level, but for the CPA, it's often hard to get behind the curtain of ticking and tying to truly show up as the way their client sees them. The client sees them as brilliant. There's a reason why they chose each and every CPA to be their partner. It's personal. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at, when I started investigating TaxExact, I realized that something was happening here. There was finally a technology that was focusing on transforming the ancient review process. When you think about all the technology that has come across in the industry, it's been a lot at the entry level of the process, the tax preparer, and a lot at the end of the process. But what's so important is that review level in the middle, we still have the bottleneck. We still have important reviewers that are doing the ticking and tying. And so when I looked at TaxExact, I knew that they were onto something big. TaxExact is a tool that revolutionizes that 1040 process, and it also is addressing those urgent needs of the industry.
Right, right.
But they're doing all of this, Janelle, while they're moving closer to their clients with those advisory and consulting services, which is really truly unlocking the power of the data and the information that CPAs are privileged to have access to.
Absolutely. You bring up such a good topic, which makes me want to shift gears for a minute because I'd like to pick your brain. Having come from a background where you've been working with hundreds of firms over many, many years, could you maybe also highlight a couple of key things that you've seen emerge as key challenges and topics in firms over the past couple of years from your
Oh,
experience prior to coming into TaxExact?
absolutely. There is without a doubt two really strong, there's many, but there's two really strong themes that I continue to hear. And one, there's not enough staffing. And let me
Right,
be specific on that because I talk more about that seasoned staffing, somebody from 5 to 7 years of experience. They
right.
can't find that role. Oftentimes we'd be in firms and they would say, hey, if you know of anyone, send them my way. Well, guess
Yep.
what? In one day, I'd be in maybe 5 or 6 firms. I heard the same message. The second message that I heard consistently is with the bottleneck at the review level. And we would talk about data integrity at the front end of the process, making sure that the data coming into the tax preparation process was quality, was solid. So we had all types of technology for that. But still, when it got to the review level, they were back to that ticking and tying and just burying their head in an absorbent amount of work. That's what I thought would be so beneficial to be able to find an organization that truly can attack those two main critical themes.
I like to call it the messy middle. We
Exactly,
figured it out on the
exactly.
front end, we figured it out on the delivery end, but that messy middle is what takes more time than anything. And it takes so much time at the partner and senior manager level when all those roles really want to be doing is out there having higher value client conversations and really advising and consulting with clients versus double checking inputs that they've been doing the same way for, since the dawn of tax time. So I'm excited to see how we're going to be able to impact firms moving forward together. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have you on this team. And I'm sure that many of our firms look forward to welcoming you as well as a consultant to help them improve their realization and profitability within their firms.
Mhm. The message that I say to all the reviewers out there is free yourself from the tick and tie and go be brilliant. That's what your clients want. They want
Love
your
it.
brilliancy.
I love it. Thank you, Julie. And we will look forward to hearing more from you very soon.
As I always say, Janelle, it's my pleasure.